Movie Holics!
Hello, this is Jack Hudgens, and this is another niche on the fly. I felt this was an important one to do because November 27th is the date of the 50th anniversary of one of Japan's most famous monster icons. Nope, not Godzilla, but the friend of all children, the guardian of the universe, Gamera. Today I look back at the movie that started the franchise we know today, giant monster Gamera from 1965. Although Daiei Studios tried to follow Toho into the kaiju genre in 1963 with the film giant horde beast Nezera. The movie was to take place on a distant island where sewer rats were consuming an experimental food source. The rats grow huge and they begin attacking livestock and humans. Giant rat props were built and real rats were to be used, but the film was shut down over concerns over escaped rats infesting Daiei's neighboring towns. Legend has it that the idea for Gamera came to Daiei president Masaichi Nagata during a flight back to Japan from America. During his flight, he claimed to have seen a cloud that looked like a flying turtle. At the next production meeting, he told everyone to make a turtle fly. Now, the story sounds very similar to the same way that Toho producer Tomoyuki Tanaka got the idea for Godzilla. On a flight, looking down at the ocean, wondering what's down there. Both stories are obscured in legend, but Gamera's cinematic mythical genesis has a few more bumps in the road. Manga artist Tomio Sugisu said that the monster was plagiarized from a proposal he made to Daiei for a Monster of the Week TV series. After that, Daiei backtracked, saying it was actually President Nagata's son who came up with Gamera. Regardless what really happened, what's generally accepted is the legend of President Nagata flying back to Japan and seeing the cloud shaped like a flying turtle. The initial draft for Gamera was written by Nissan Takahashi, and the monster was originally called Kamera. But because it sounded so close to the Japanese pronunciation of the word camera, we have the name Gamera instead. But why a giant turtle? The idea seems pretty silly, especially to Westerners. In Asia, the turtle is a symbol of long life and strength. Hindu tradition claims the world sits on 4 elephants standing on top of a turtle named Kurma. For those still stuck on the Oppenheimer 2014 Godzilla trailer, Kurma is the second avatar of the god Vishnu. Meanwhile, the black tortoise stands for one of the Chinese constellations. It represents the north and the winter season. This correlation is even more interesting when you consider that Gamera comes from the Arctic, winter, north. Enough said. And being the protector of the North falls in line with his more heroic role in later films. But in the original film, Gamera is hardly a guardian, and he's barely the friend to children. Thanks to the Cold War conflict between America and an unnamed country, gee, I wonder who, Gamera is woken by a nuclear blast in the Arctic. He makes his way to Japan where he lays waste, and a deranged child named Toshiro Sakurai, played by Yoshiro Uchida, believes his pet turtle has turned into a giant monster. Gamera tortures Japan until they come up with Plan Z, which traps him in a giant rocket and shoots him into outer space. There was a conscious decision not to kill Gamera, even though the idea of making sequels wasn't in the cards yet. Daiei was also trying to differentiate Gamera from Godzilla, so keeping him alive at the end was one way to do that, even though there are moments that clearly mirror the 1954 Godzilla. Directorial duties fell on Noriaki Yuasa, who is the only man at Daiei willing to take on the project. Yuasa was born into a stage acting family, but he wasn't really interested in acting since he was around it so much. In 1957, Yuasa made it into Daiei's director's program. After that, he stuck with the studio largely as an assistant director. His 1964 directorial debut was If You're Happy, Clap Your Hands. Unfortunately, the film flopped. So the fact that Yuasa was handed a project as big as Gamera was a pretty huge deal. Of course, no one else would do it. He was under tremendous pressure and told that Gamera was his last shot at directing. Dailies that he showed were met with derision, and the studio thought they were just wasting their money. As an underdog, Yuasa pushed as hard as he could, consulting crew members at Toho for help. Gamera's special effects director was Yunesaburo Tsukiji. Tsukiji started his career as an assistant cameraman. His first special effects duties were with 1954's Snow Atop Mount Fuji. Larger scale special effects from Tsukiji were seen in 1956's Warning from Space. The destruction scenes in that film likely aided him for Gamera. Various suits for Gamera were made by Musao Yagi, who created other monster suits including the original Godzilla. Yagi and his crew had had a lot of experience since 1954, so the Gamera suit was a great deal lighter than the Godzilla suit of the 1950s. One of the Gamera suits was just the upper torso for when Gamera fires his flamethrower. The flamethrower effect was done by using pressurized propane. Far from a safe technique, the flames damaged the suit and Yagi would have to repair it every time it was used. Meanwhile, according to Yuasa, Gamera's strange ability to fly was modeled after the spinning fireworks. UFOs were all the rage in the 1960s, so making Gamera one was sort of natural considering the popularity. I mean, well, as natural as a flying turtle can look anyway. When the film finished screening for Daiei suits, everyone got real quiet at the end. According to director Yuasa, President Nagata called the film amusing, and the movie went on to be a huge hit. Admittedly, the original Gamera isn't an excellent movie, but it has some interesting ideas, is vastly entertaining, and went on to spawn a great franchise. Yuasa would go on to direct 6 of the next 7 Gamera movies, including one of my favorites, Gamera vs. Gauss, before the series was rebooted by award-winning director Susuke Kaneko in 1995's Gamera, Guardian of the Universe. Kaneko's Gamera trilogy is considered the finest example of modern kaiju filmmaking, unrivaled by any to come after it. Gamera was unsuccessfully rebooted again in 2005's Gamera, the Brave, but just this year, Daiei announced plans to move forward with a future Gamera project at New York Comic Con. So happy 50th anniversary to Giant Monster Gamera, and may the franchise continue to flourish. Big thanks to August Rogone and David Milner for the very rare information on this extremely entertaining movie. Let me know your thoughts on Giant Monster Gamera and the Gamera franchise in the comments below. Thanks guys, this has been a Niche on the Fly. Make sure you subscribe and visit us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and SoundCloud, and our website, movieholics.net. See you guys next time on The Niche. And again, happy anniversary, Gamera.